Hi everybody, welcome to Sprague Woodturning. My name is Jim. It's a spring day. It's a little windy today, but this is the first time in 3.5 months that I've had the doors open to my shop and it feels great. So in this video, I'm going to take this walnut bowl and I'm going to combine it with, if you remember the 15,000 subscriber giveaway bowl, I used this copper pipe combined with mussel shells, and that was the inlay for that. Well, probably about a year and a half ago, I bought this aluminum powder, and when I tried to combine it with the CA glue, it just wouldn't go through it. So now that I'm doing resin, I think that this is a good thing. I'll mix this up with the resin. We'll pour it in with the copper pipe, and it should give us a really neat inlay in that dark bowl. So anyway, that's this video. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And of course, anytime that thumbs up happens certainly helps out the channel as well. Anyway, I'm just going to get a glue block on the bottom of this, and then we'll get at the lathe and get this trimmed up, and we'll go from there. Well, I hope everybody is having a fantastic week. So yeah, I'm using the 5/8 bowl gouge from David Ellsworth, my go-to gouge that I like to use. It's actually pretty much the only bowl gouge that I use. Just taking pull cuts and push cuts, just trying to chew things up, just to make sure I needed something with some decent width at the rim. So that was really one of the reasons why I picked one of these thicker bowls to do this. Here I'm sanding with a 3.5-inch dimple discs from sandpaper.ca. Yeah, and I mean, I usually only go to 320 on just normal straight pieces of wood. I typically don't see the need to go any higher than that. And again, I reverse the lathe and reverse the drill direction every grit. And of course, using a 3/16 parting tool by Crown to cut in the inlay area. Okay, so I'm using the Mohawk salad bowl finish out of these stop loss bags. Anyway, I've poured it into this little cup, and we're going to use it right out of the can, the way it comes. And what I'm going to do with this bowl is I'm going to follow the directions on the can and see if that works for us. Now this has gotten a lot thinner than I like it to be. I like to see this at least 3/16 of an inch so that either the CA glue or the resin doesn't wick through the end grain. So I don't know if that's going to happen on this piece or not. So I'm going to seal up inside the groove here really good with this uncut finish, and hopefully that will prevent it from bleeding through. Anyway, for a first coat of finish, I mean, it looks nice. There's no streaking, but of course the problem I'm having with this is it gets worse as I put more coats of finish on it. I'm having issues with it. Of course, usually when I do this, I use a squeeze bottle and I can squeeze it right into the area that I'm working in. But I found I was getting a lot of loss with this, so that's why I went to those stop loss bags. They'll certainly wipe off any extra. And what I'll do is probably end up leaving this sit overnight, and then we'll put the inlay in this tomorrow morning. All right, it's time to put the pipe in. So I'll let the finish cure overnight. These are fitting in here tighter than I'd hoped. I really Wanted this groove to just be a little bit larger, but it's just too, it's getting too thin. And hopefully we'll get lucky as we work our way around. It'll line up where there's not going to be a gap, but and these may look crooked to you, and that's because the groove is cut on an angle. If you go straight into this, it's going to be really, really thin down at the bottom. So you've got to angle the parting tool to go with kind of the angle of the wood. Anyway, once we get these in here, I think I'm actually just going to pour the resin and everything, and then we'll cut it back tomorrow. It would be ideal to grind back these copper pipes before that, but I'm not so sure if the CA glue is going to hold it good enough for that to happen. Of course not. That's all right. I'll just space these out far enough that it's not noticeable. And some of these fit better than others because some of them have burrs on them and some of them don't from cutting them. The one thing I really don't want them to do is drop down below the edge here, because it's going to require a lot more sanding and tooling. So I'll pull that out. There, that's spaced out pretty good now. You can't even really see any gaps really. All right, let's mix up some resin. All right, so we are going to be using the Pro Series from Designer Epoxy. All right, I'm not sure how much this is going to take. It's very hard to figure out something like this. Anyway, it's 2 parts A, 1 part B. So I think I'm just going to do, I'm going to do 6 of the A and then 3 of the B. So anyway, I want this to be pretty heavy on the aluminum side. So, I mean, that's what the aluminum powder looks like. It's so fine. Looks kind of like concrete. All right, so that's 4 teaspoons. And, you know, I'm certainly no chemist, and I'm assuming mixing this aluminum powder with this epoxy is safe. But of course, every time you do something like this, you certainly run the risk of, you know, something bad happening, creating a poison gas or whatever. Anyway, so far so good. Anyway, I'm going to pour here, and then I'm not going to be able to fill it all the way up because I got to be able to get this in the pot, and then I'll finish it off when it's inside the pot. So I've transferred it into this. It's going to be easier to pour, hopefully. And of course, try and keep it out of the bowl. There, that's filling off. Get this in the pressure pot and see what happens. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. It might just look like copper pipe inlaid in concrete. I don't know. All right, let's see what happens. I'm fully expecting this thing to run everywhere. Oh well, we'll address that tomorrow. All right, let's see what we got. That looks all right. I don't know. I don't think we had any leaks. That's good. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see how that looks. So far, I'm not so sure. Well, I must say that that was unexpected. I broke the corner off of the carbide tool here. Huh. Yeah, I know this is hard, but you know, I thought for sure that this carbide would be able to cut that back. Oh well, I guess it's sanding it is. Yeah, it was rather evident that when I started to initially try and grind back that inlay, that 60 grit 6-inch random orbital sander wasn't going to cut it. So when I switched to this Kutzall disc, which is just a whole bunch of carbide teeth, basically on a disc, I mean, it worked fantastic removing that pipe and the resin. Then I switched back to the 6-inch random orbital, and it left me a good finish, or a good starting point to start with the 3.5-inch discs. So after the inlay was sanded at 800, again I'm using the Tripoli from the Be All buffing system just to take out any marks and imperfections. Well, what do you think? Think it looks like aluminum? Maybe when the finish goes on. Okay, so this is the second coat of the Mohawk salad bowl finish. So when I ground off some of the metal here, it actually pitted the wood, so I had to sand the inside of the bowl back to get any of that pitting out. And that was another reason why I wore a glove. Kind of figured that was going to happen. And as you can see, I've got long sleeves on and I was wearing a respirator, so hopefully it'll only take one more coat. We'll have to see. And I was again totally impressed with designer epoxy. There was no voids in this at all. And here we are back to the 4.0 steel wool, as it says to use on the can, so that's what we're going to do. All right, this is the second coat of Mohawk salad bowl finish. Now I'm following the directions on the can. The only thing I'm not doing, they said between the first and second coat was to sand to 400. That's already way up there, so I don't know. I think the 4.0 steel wool is perfectly fine. So again, this has been sitting in my clean room above my electric heater. It's nice and warm, and it doesn't look too bad. We'll have to see what it gives us once it dries, but right now it doesn't look too bad. Any thoughts on the aluminum yet? Tell you something though, I kicked myself for not using these stop loss bags. So far, day after day after day, there's no cured finish. So I think about how much finish I've thrown away as a professional wood turner for some time now. Kind of makes me cringe. Anyway, look at getting them stop loss bags. You might save yourself money in the long run. And whatever I don't use, I just pour back into the bag. All right, so it's the next day. I could maybe get away with trying to buff this and let it go as it is, but it's a little hard to show on the camera, but there's some streaking in it. So anyway, I'm going to put one more coat on it and try and put it on more evenly, and hopefully that will work for us. Okay, last coat. Mohawk solid bowl finish. Actually looks pretty good. We'll have to see. So after that coat of finish went on, everything was great. So I'm just buffing with white diamond. And this again is from the Be All buffing system. And then just using the parting tool to cut the piece off of the waste block. Here I'm using the vacuum chuck system from One Way Manufacturing, and it is by far the best and easiest way to finish the bottoms of your bowls. All right, let's have a chat about our bowl. Again, for a last little look here, again, that's aluminum powder, copper pipe with designer epoxy, and black walnut, beautiful black walnut. Here's the back side. Still need one more coat on the foot, and then it'll be done. Ended up being 9 by 2.5. It's not a real big bowl. It's kind of more an experiment. I don't know, I like it. I was really hoping that the aluminum would look more metalish than it is. Looks a little bit more like Bondo or body filter. Regardless, it's still cool. Still neat. And of course, 3 coats of the Mohawk solid bowl finish. Technically 4, but I sanded it off, the other coat, because of I got pitted up from grinding away the copper pipe. And you know, I used 4-0 steel wool between applications, and that seemed to really it seemed to work better. So the next one I'm certainly gonna do the 4-0 steel wool as well. I've been using 4-0 steel wool for many years, probably 20 years. The problem with 4-0 steel wool is it has a tendency to get embedded in the pores of the wood, especially walnut. So you got to be really careful when you're using it. Make sure you blow the wood out really good before the next coat of finish goes on. I know there's synthetic steel wools, but the white one, which is the finest one, is too fine, and I find the next one down is too coarse. So it will leave marks in the finish. And it will also leave material behind. Not as bad as the 4-0 steel wool, but the synthetic steel wool can still leave material behind. You know, it's neat. Let me know in the description what you think about it. I think it's actually pretty cool. So I wanted to do a St. Patrick's Day bowl, but the timeline didn't work out. So anyway, I'm going to hopefully have that up either Sunday or Monday. That's why it's important to have that bell notification. You'll know when the video goes up so you can watch it. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. And yeah, let me know what you think about this. So don't forget about the discount codes in the description down below to Designer, Epoxy, sandpaper.ca, and of course store-bought adhesives. And I guess that's it. Anyway, take care, stay safe. Don't forget that thumbs up, and we'll see you either Sunday or Monday. Take care.